always be like, my hands are full. Gross. Let's go.
So we have an update to a story that we talked about last week. I am very glad that she gave us an update. So this story, am I the a-hole for not telling my husband anything about my pregnancy after he called me disgusting? She was kind enough to give us this summary right here, so I don't have to read through the whole thing, just in case someone forgot. But she says, husband called me disgusting for describing pregnancy to her sister-in-law. So I stopped telling him anything. When I went into labor, I didn't tell him either, though everyone else did. He ignored the calls/texts because he was out with the guys, showed up late, still hasn't apologized. And now I'm staying at my brother's with the baby while he stews in his own mess. So y'all, I gotta be honest, I am not a follower of Charlotte Dubray, so I have no idea why people are called potatoes. So if someone can clue me in on the potatoes thing, that would be amazing. But she says, hi potatoes. Thank you for all the comments and messages on my original post. It honestly helped me feel less crazy. A lot of you had similar questions, so I'll answer those quickly before diving into the actual update. The post will be divided into 2 sections just to help people out, and I have free time since the baby's asleep. LOL. First question, are you taking counseling? She says, only if he agrees and is split 50-50. I'm not going to shoulder the cost of fixing something he helped break. If he doesn't want to invest financially or emotionally, then that tells me all I need to know. Question, since you didn't tell him, did anyone else? She says, yes, several people did, before and after the birth. My brother texted him right away since my in-laws were already on their way. Sister-in-law called him 3 separate times after I had already delivered and was holding the baby. He didn't pick up once. His mom called and left a voicemail. His brother texted him. My dad called, texted, and left 3 voicemails. This wasn't a case of nobody told him. It was a case of everyone told him and he ignored it. And to add insult to injury, he wasn't working late. He was literally out with the guys. I only knew of my sister-in-law and mother-in-law calling him until yesterday when my brother told me. Question, did you try to communicate with him before you stopped sharing updates? Yes. The exact moment he called me disgusting, I told him, don't call me disgusting, that's rude. We got into a brief fight about it. He didn't back down, and that's the day I decided if my body and my pregnancy were so gross to him, then he could live in ignorance. I'm not a mind reader, and I'm not going to beg him to treat me with respect. So here's the update. She says, so the day after my post, things blew up. My husband came home from work acting like nothing had happened. He barely looked at the baby, didn't ask me how I was doing, and plopped down on the couch, scrolling his phone. At that point, I asked him directly if he was ever going to apologize for calling me disgusting, for ignoring everyone's calls, for missing the birth, anything. His response, you embarrassed me first by running your mouth to my family. I don't owe you an apology. That was it for me. I grabbed some essentials for me and my daughter, packed a bag, and left. I'm currently staying at my brother's house. He and sister-in-law welcomed us in without hesitation, and honestly, the peace here is refreshing. I didn't go to my parents. Instead, I went to my brother's because my dad has still been openly siding with my husband. He told me I was dramatic and vindictive, and that I embarrassed my husband by not keeping him updated. Meanwhile, my mom is absolutely furious with him for taking that stance. She flat out told me she's embarrassed to be married to a man who thinks this way, and that she worries I'll cut her off from seeing the baby because of him. For the record, I would never cut her off, but I also don't want to see my dad right now. He can sit with the consequences of defending someone who called his pregnant daughter disgusting. As for my husband, his phone behavior has been wild. One minute he's texting me saying I took his daughter away, and the next he's acting like this is just a fight we'll get over. Still no apology, not even a half-hearted one. Meanwhile, his family are absolutely tearing into him. His dad is more reserved but disappointed, and his brother told him he's lucky my name didn't divorce your butt on the spot. The only people on his side remain a couple of cousins, which frankly tells me everything. Right now, my baby girl is surrounded by love and support. My side of the family, his side of the family, with the exception of him, has been stepping up. My husband is on the outside looking in, and that's a position he put himself in. So many people are in their find out season, and they're going to dwell in it because women are not taking this. It's like once you figure out some of that self-preservation, some of those survival instincts kick in, and you pick yourself up and take yourself out of that situation, it's going to be amazing. People think that there is a male loneliness epidemic. It needs to turn into a pandemic. If they don't want to treat you right, if there's not a mutual support or reciprocity, leave them be. So many of these dudes think that it's optional to treat their partners with love and kindness and stuff. So many think that opting in or out of participating in raising their own children is optional, and it's not. They need to be there, hands on deck, doing whatever needs to be done, and so many of them don't want to participate. This dude is getting what he deserves, and I love that for him, and I appreciate capital ingenuity tagging me into this. I definitely appreciate that. And once again, let me know what this whole potatoes situation is, because I really don't know. Ada Lucas says, dump the husband, keep the in-laws, and that is a given. She is probably not giving up those in-laws. Marguerite says, in my family, we call them outlaws, lovingly. After the divorces, we keep them. CI 1979 says, my sister's mother-in-law jokes to my sister's husband, her son, you better not ever divorce her because we'd keep her and you be out of luck. LOL, she's always been wonderful to my sister and treats her like the daughter she's always wanted. Great lady. I love the good mother-in-law stories because we do hear some nightmare mother-in-law stories. So it's definitely refreshing to hear some loving, supportive mother-in-law stories. At the bottom, she says, I told my son the same thing about my daughter-in-law. She is an amazing woman. Yay for another healthy relationship. CI 1979 says, to that woman, you are the opposite of a just no mother-in-law. You're a just yes mother-in-law. Another Bog Cryptid says, and my mother-in-law was like this. She loved me so much, and God, did I need it because I did not have a mom growing up. She really filled a hole in my heart. I miss her so much. So the thing is that, not everybody is going to be a mother, but sometimes you can come into somebody's life and fill a hole where they need it. So you never know, where a little kindness and helpfulness, it might go a long way. And then finally, this mama at the bottom, More Than Zero, says, I kept 4 of my oldest son's disasters, 2 divorces, 2 long-term relationships. They are all wonderful, loving women, and I barely have any contact with the son who chose to become a pathological liar and manipulative narcissist like his sperm donor, whom he's now forced to live with, but only because he thinks he's going to inherit his late grandparents' house. Dang. So you got 2 narcs being forced to live together. They gotta love that. But this is honestly where these dudes will end. They need to end up in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House. For the new people, the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House is like where they need to be, like a Golden Girl type of community, but really just for old men, because so many of them don't seem to want to be connected to their own children. That's where a lot of these dudes are going to end up, in the old man Mojo Dojo Casa House. They're not going to be able to call up their son or daughter if they have no relationship. And so many of these people don't want to pour into their own children. They're going to earn that spot where they don't get the opportunity to be there for any of the milestones for their own children or grandchildren because they've been despicable people. Anyways, let me know what you think about this one. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I have a Facebook friend who lives here in the United States, specifically Texas, and she immigrated from Vietnam, and she did so a long time ago. She did so as a child, and she's in her 50s. She's child-free by choice, and she's single. She wrote this post, and I wanted to give a little bit of her background before reading this post, because I do believe that it is important to know and understand where people are coming from so you can kind of understand their experiences and how they interpret things. So that's just a little background information about this woman. So let's look at this post. She says, I'm still thinking about that convo with my hairdresser yesterday. She said, so let me guess, you try to date a guy, he starts complaining about all of his first world problems to you, and you're like, no. She says, pretty much. I said, I get having problems and concerns. We all do, but there's no appreciation for what we do have, like Amazon, for example. No one has Amazon like we do. We just take it for granted that we can pick up our phone, look through 200 shelves, and then click one and it shows up at our house. Like, that's literally crazy. My new place needed shelves of a certain size because it's small. All I had to do was look through a bunch of Amazon listings till I found the right size, and then click, it showed up at my door. Do you know what it would take to find a shelf of a certain size in Vietnam? You would have to spend all day on a scooter looking for the guy who makes the shelf, and then talk to him and negotiate it and go through this entire process to get it from him to you. Even going grocery shopping in Vietnam is crazy in terms of what it takes just to get that done. No Instacart, no online ordering. No one has a car to bring the groceries home, but we just pick and click. And then we're like, oh my God, my life is so hard. I'm so poor. 5G is crazy. AI is crazy. They don't even have 5G in London like we do. We are surrounded by amazing, crazy things. Austin is full of amazing, crazy things. Pools, amazing live music, amazing fitness scene, being able to ride a motorcycle or bicycle and be outside most of the year. And most of those things are very cheap or free. But there's no appreciation, just rant about AI or capitalism or conspiracy theories or how bad everything is or how they don't make enough money. But I do a really hard job that requires a master's degree and licensure. And let me tell you something. Half of these dudes barely even effing work at their jobs, and they don't even know it. They think they're just slaving away all day, that they're just working so hard. While in that week alone, I dealt with 2 rapes, 4 deaths, assaults, and just about every other bad thing that happens to people. She's a counselor. She talks to women on a day-to-day basis. She's also very feminist. So that's what she's talking about right here. She's seeing the difference in these dudes whining and complaining and what women are actually going through on a day-to-day basis. It's just like this total disconnect from reality, you know? I can't with it. I even had some dude go off on me about capitalism. I finally lost my patience and informed him that Vietnam isn't communist anymore and hasn't been in a long time because communism doesn't work. It's a socialist market economy because there are aspects of capitalism that do work and support things like innovations in technology and small independent business. Capitalism is why you have that fancy phone in your hand that no one else has. The left-wing guys are just as stupid as the right-wing guys, and all of them are unhappy, even though by every standard, they have more than most of the world's people. They have a car, they have a smartphone, they have effing Amazon. Are you kidding me? Somebody needs to drop these dudes into a 3rd or 4th world country for 1 month and let them get a reality immersion. A guy who isn't ever happy with anything and is delusional about what he thinks he should have is a no-go for me, girl. Every man I've ever known like that failed spectacularly in life because the disconnect between what he thought he deserved and what he was actually willing to do to get it was insane. And a guy like that is never going to appreciate a top-notch woman like me because he's delusional and thinks he can do better. And he never does better. Never, but I'm not going to get dragged through it. Oh man, she said, what you say is so true. Every dude thinks he's destined to be a crypto millionaire out here. It's truly delusional. I see what you're saying now that I've been out here looking at dating. I see it. And the lying, all these guys just lie about everything, their job, where they live, all of it. They lie about their job and where they live because they can't afford to live in Austin, but they want you to think they can, I said dryly. Are you getting hit up by like 1,000 guys who live 40 minutes to an hour outside of Austin, but pretend like they live here? Boo. You live in a whole different city with a different name. You wish you lived in Austin. And then you're going to be pissed off when we don't want to drive 45 minutes to your nowhere effing suburb to date you, or you're going to complain about driving to see us, even though you were the one who straight up lied about where you lived in order to get a chance to talk to us. Just date people in your effing area. You don't want to drive or you're going to whine about it all the time. So just stick to your location for dating. What's hard about this? And she says, I don't even know what's wrong with all of them. It's just pure delusion, man. So she's saying, why don't they just stick to their area if they're not going to, if they don't want to drive? It's because they see all of these options online and they feel like they should be able to pick and choose. They don't want to do the work behind it, but they feel like their options should come to them like Amazon because they have been accustomed to easy and convenient. But these women are not trying to be easy or convenient anymore. They're like, no, I'm not going to fall for this. Absolutely not. Now, this is the end of her post, but because of this post, I couldn't remember exactly about her story. I knew that she had been here since she was a child and she came here from Vietnam. So I jumped in her inbox to ask her. I'm like, how long have you been here? She says, my whole life, but I have spent significant time outside of the United States in the last 10 years in terms of non-first world experiences. I also grew up poor here, but poor here and poor outside of the US is a whole different thing. And she tells me, I don't think you and I ever specifically talked about it. Outside the US, though, when I say poor, I mean squat toilets, no running water, people living in shacks, etc., like only one level above homelessness. Most Americans have never seen what real poor looks like across the globe. And that's the reason why it's so important for me to talk to women across different cultures, across different countries of origin, because it helps you get a fuller picture of what it's like in the world. Even just talking to women from different generations to see where they come from, because you really don't know and understand why somebody would be like, absolutely no, or just fall into the traps that they fall into. Some woman like this is not going to accept any excuses off of men when she has been the type that grew up poor and has worked her way up to be a successful woman, a mentor, a counselor that she is right now. So she's not going to accept all of the whiny excuses that some of these dudes are giving her. And like I said, this woman is in her 50s, single and child free. So she's talking from her perspective with the dudes in her age demographic. And she's just Xing people off very quickly. But it's just interesting to see that so many people across different age demographics, you know, what women are seeing pretty much the same thing over and over and over. The story is the same, no matter the race of woman, the country of origin, the culture. So many women are saying so many of the same things. It's just a slightly different variety. All right, y'all, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about this one. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I'm on these apps every single day sharing women's stories. We can take this woman's story, this preview into what her life is going to look like 10 years from now. Every last one of us that has been in this community long enough could type out the rest of her life if she continues with this man and continues with this pregnancy. And I will already say that I am very much pro-choice, and that this woman needs to really evaluate what is going on around her and ask herself if she wants to deal with what is coming. So she posted in the Am I Overreacting subreddit saying, "Am I overreacting for being upset that my husband wants me to continue litter box duty while pregnant?" That is the title. You could go ahead and type up the rest of her life for the next 10 years. She's pregnant. He wants her to continue to clean up the litter box. Okay, that's based on the title. You could type up the story, but let's look at the post. "My husband and I are expecting our first child. I'm only 6 weeks and just found out. Last night we had friends over who we told, and she said, 'Oh, now you have to take care of the litter box.' And he was like, she can do it still." And she went on to explain Toxoplasmosis and all that, and he just kind of ignored it. Well, this morning he mentions, "By the way, I Googled it, and technically you can still do the litter box if you wear gloves and do it every day." And I was just confused if he was being serious and why he would want to risk it. And he insisted Google says it's not ineffective for a day, and if I do it every day, then I'll be fine. But like, why would we risk it? I mean, I can, sure, but I feel like it's wild to not even want to try to help me out. Hormones got the best of me, and I started crying and just left the room because I didn't feel like arguing or crying in front of him. Is this ridiculous, or am I just hormonal? He went to Google just to prove that she can still do this task, that there is absolutely no reason why he couldn't do the task. He just doesn't want to. Now, just imagine how having a child or multiple children with that person will be. It would be all kind of pulling up the phone and, well, actually, and yeah, I can just imagine. And I'm already pre-tired for what that woman is going to go through. And the fact that she says hormones got her crying and she just left instead of arguing about it. Cool. So what does that mean? That means that he already knows that he can just tire her out or make her so frustrated that she doesn't even continue the conversation. So if they were to have children, that means that she will just do it anyway, whatever it is. She's going to do it anyway because she does not want to have these tough conversations. She doesn't edit. She says, "I ended up taking a drive to clear my head and try to chill out because I was quite upset. I ended up texting him that I felt like he was trying to get out of litter box duty and he didn't Google it out of fear of my well-being. He, of course, denied it and insisted he only Googled it because he thought we, my friends and I, were messing with him, and he never said I had to," which I said it definitely felt implied like I wasn't getting out of doing it since you found a solution. Overall, I told him I feel extremely unsupported if this is how he's acting so soon, and he essentially just kept doubling down that I had it all wrong and he never said he wouldn't help. But we've been together for 5 years, and he definitely does weasel his way out of chores. Red flag. He weasels his way out of chores. Red flag. This baby was a surprise, and I'm sad we haven't worked through marital issues before this, but I don't want an abortion. I'm excited to be a mom, and I definitely had my own come to Jesus moment. I just assumed he wanted to be a dad so bad he would make sacrifices for his unborn child, even if he wouldn't for his wife. And this felt like a slap in the face. I definitely have some thinking to do, and I will be mentioning this to my OB in a few weeks. So, she knows that she's probably going to be a married single mother or just a divorced single mom because she knows that living with this man, she's going to be taking it all on. Since she's going to have this child based on what she just wrote, it just tells me that the slap in the face is more so that she knows that she's going to be doing it all. And this is one of the reasons why I will continue to say the birth rate needs to plummet to hell, because many of these dudes really don't think that it's part of their responsibility to have to be supportive and participate and pick up the slack where it's falling down on this end for whatever reason or another. Like the conversation that we were having just a couple of days ago with the dad who's a work from home dad and a mom that's a stay-at-home mom. And he can't even manage to swap and do bedtime so that she can get a break. So many guys were in my comment section just like totally missing the point. Like, he works. Okay, cool. We all work. But at some point in time, women get tired, or can you just not? I mean, do you give up all parenting because you have a stay-at-home mom or because a woman has a uterus or whatnot? At some point, this should be a team effort, but I don't really think that they're ever going to truly try to be teammates with women, because women have uteruses, and that means that we're supposed to always be on and be the servants of the home. Let the birth rate plummet to hell. Let's look at a few of these comments. Valis Trey says, nah, girl, you're not the a-hole here. Pregnancy ain't some easy peasy walk in the park, and dude can't step up to scoop some poop. Toxoplasmosis is no joke either. Y'all are about to be prep parents. If he can't handle a litter box, how's he going to handle a baby's nappies? Time for homeboy to step up. May seem small, but these little things matter. Stay strong. And then the OP says, that's basically how I felt. It wasn't even the task itself. I'm sure she meant to say it wasn't even the task itself. More just that he went out of his way to get out of a more simpler task, and a baby is a big responsibility. She has that point. She is seeing into her future. That's the reason why she had that slap in the face, because she sees if he can't do this, he's not going to do the big things. All right, so this person, Worship Pirate, says, not overreacting. 1, indoor cats rarely ever get toxoplasmosis unless your cat is an outdoor cat. There are mice coming indoors that cat is catching and eating, or you're feeding the cat raw/uncooked meat. Then toxoplasmosis is virtually unheard of in indoor cats. 2, that said, your husband is a huge a-hole. You're going to start having trouble bending over. You're going to be tired. You're going to need help. We're a childless house with pets that we spoil like children. My husband would do anything I asked that made my life more comfortable/enjoyable/easier. Do I usually scoop the litter box? Yes. Has he scooped the litter or done anything else when I was sick, injured, or otherwise having trouble? Absolutely. What is your husband going to do when the baby poops, spits up, has a blowout, has norovirus, or is otherwise covered in poop/vomit? And man, those first couple of months of poop are some serious poop. Oh my gosh. That just brought back some memories, y'all. Just poop all up and down the onesie. Like, how you get poop on the front of the onesie? Man, there's some serious blowouts that are out there. And if these people can't do the simple stuff, the blowouts that go all up the baby's front and back, what are they going to do? They're going to give the baby to the mom just like this. It's going to be like, ugh. I feel like this is a man. He says, whose cat is it? You never actually mentioned this. Does it matter? Why does it matter whose cat it is? The cats live there in the home and she's pregnant. The cat's litter needs to be changed and she's pregnant. Like, why does this even matter? But anyways, she does answer. She says, so we have 3. 2 I had when we met, and the 3rd he wanted to adopt after we were living together. It's always been our cats since, but if we split up, the first 2 come with me and he takes the 3rd. We do also have a litter robot, but it malfunctions like once a day. So we also have a traditional litter box just in case it does when we aren't home. So she answers it like a boss, but regardless, it's their cats and their home, and somebody has to handle that responsibility. And here's the man. I'm totally sure it's a man. And did he agree to cleaning the litter box when you guys got together? Why does this matter? The situation has changed. You have to adjust. I don't care enough about this man's full comment to continue to read it, because this is totally a man speaking and it doesn't matter. The task needs to be done, and this dude is trying to find a way to avoid doing it. Anyways, join the conversation. Let me know what you think about all of this. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
I saw this video of a woman saying, y'all love telling women to get a divorce. Leave him. Guilty as charged. That's me. Divorce his ass. Leave him. Beat him. Whatever you gotta do to break free.